Hey guys, we're back with a fresh episode of Sled Tech. Today we've got Boost and 9R with us in the shop. We're trying to answer the hardest question of all. Which one do I get? All right, we're back with a new season of Sled Tech. We had a ton of fun last winter taking you guys on a bunch of deep dive technical videos on some of our favorite engines and sleds and some new features. And we got a ton of awesome videos lined up here for this season. We're gonna keep going deeper into our favorite parts of snowmobiling, some new features, some new technical pieces on our snowmobiles. And we're really excited to kick it off today with Boost and 9R. Now, we've done full technical deep dive videos on each of these. We'll link them somewhere over here. And if you want to watch those, see all the technical features and kind of the specifics on each engine, we have those available. Today, what we're going to talk about is the ultimate question. Which one do I get? Now, obviously the answer is both, but that's not the case for most. So we're going to talk about specifically in each of our sleds which one to get. New for 2025, which we just launched in SnowCheck here back in March, was the 9R engine in our trail and crossover snowmobiles. So 9R and Indy XCR and Switchback Assault. So now we've got Patriot Boost and Patriot 9R, our two top of the line mod motors as we call them here, available in Indies, Switchbacks, and RMKs all the way across the lineup. All right, so before we dive in, quick reminder on some of the key pieces for both 9R and Boost. So 9R, 899cc twin, naturally aspirated. It's the big bore brother of the 850, so same stroke and bore spacing, just a little bit bigger bore. Lightweight crankshaft. This motor was really designed on the hill climb circuit. It won a lot of 900 improved races before we brought it into the mountains for 2023. And then, like we said, into the trail and crossover sleds for 2025. 7% more power than an 850 and 12% more torque, all while being over a pound lighter than an 850. So all about lightweight response and lightweight power. The pair to that, of course, is right over here, Patriot Boost. So launched in 2022 in the mountains and then 2023 in the trail and crossover sleds. Starts as an 850 Patriot base engine with an auxiliary fuel injection system, proprietary turbo design, divorced wastegate with all of our Smart Boost technology, building into 10% more power at sea level than an 850, and then 50% more power at 10,000 feet than an 850. So all about all-out power and speed here with Patriot Boost. All right, before we dive into which one's for you, how they feel out on the snow, we got to talk a little bit about where these things came from. These are our two mod engines that we have in our lineup, and they both came from the racetrack. That's where we try and test all of our new technology. We develop things through racing at Polaris. It's a really grueling environment. It's the highest level of performance, the highest level riders, and it helps make our high-end, super high performance products even better when we get them out into the snow with our riders. So Patriot Boost was developed on the hill climb course in the open mod class with Rimshaw. We ran this thing in a couple different variants in the Axis platform before it was launched in 22. Keith actually won a couple Jackson King of King titles on early and then production versions of the Patriot Boost system, really making sure that the performance and the response was what it needed to be. You know, if you ever watched a hill climb race, especially Jackson on a Sunday afternoon, the tight turns back into wide open throttle up the hill, it's not just making big power that matters, it's power that responds and that's easy to handle, and that's what we developed through Rimshaw. The other piece with Patriot Boost is the injection system. So like we've talked about, it has both a traditional set of injectors and then an auxiliary set of injectors right in the throttle bodies. And that technology was actually developed on our Snowcross engine that we launched in 2021. That came with actually just the throttle body injection and really helped us prove out the performance benefits of throttle body injection on a Patriot-based two-stroke. When we launched it in Boost in pair with the traditional SDI injectors for the big horsepower, it really helps improve that response, the runnability, and then using the Smart Boost system, how consistent it is every single ride. When we get over to 9R, 9R of course was also developed on the hill climb circuit in the 900 improved class, but it really started in the Snowcross engine. That 2021 Snowcross engine was the first low inertia lightweight race engine that we made in the current generation. All about low inertia crank train and really quick revving power, just like 9R. We took it into the 600 cross country for 2022 after seeing a ton of success with that Snowcross engine. Same principle there, low inertia crank, lightweight power. It helped improve the response and the handling of that cross-country sled, especially at higher speeds when getting back onto the throttle in and out of turns. The 9R, like I said, is really the third in that family, and of course we were able to go up to 900cc with the hill climb rules going all the way up to 900. Proving out again that low inertia, lightweight power mixed with the big bore power that you get out of a 9R. Really developed strong, won a bunch of races, launched in 2023 and has been winning a lot of races since. When we talk about Boost versus 9R, you know, it's pretty cool that you got two high-end mod motors to pick from, and they're both good at a lot of things, but where they really differ is in two places. First is how they respond and what type of kind of riding style they're attuned to. And then the second is power. They both make a ton of power, but they deliver it really differently, especially depending on where you ride. So let's dive into it. So starting with response, looking over here at 9R, 9R is the fastest responding engine that we have in the lineup. That's really driven by a couple key pieces, right? It's got that lightweight, low inertia crank train, and it's naturally aspirated. It's spinning lighter clutch weights than a Boost is, and it delivers that air instantly right into the engine, right? No matter how efficient a turbocharger system, it's not going to be faster than N8. Now, response is not only cool on the dyno, but it has to work out on the hill, right? It's got to work on the trails, in the ditches, in the meadows, on the mountain. It has to make the ride better. So how does it do that? When an engine responds quickly, one of the biggest things we've learned at Polaris is that when an engine responds quickly, the vehicle itself, the entire snowmobile, responds faster. When you think about when you ride a snowmobile really aggressively, right, whether you're riding a really hard charging XCR, you're riding through the mountains and making a ton of big turns and moves right through the trees, whenever you're pushing the snowmobile, you use the throttle to steer quite a bit. Right? Think about when you're coming through a really tight, rough trail corner on your XCR and you want to kind of get the sled around and get out the backside of the corner. You're not just turning the handlebars and leaning. The throttle is a really important input into how the sled is moving through the corner. Same in the mountains, right? You're out in the hills, you're doing your crisp rant impression in the trees, trying to go through really tight terrain, using the throttle all the time to get the sled moving, change directions, and go where you want to go. The 9R just takes that power on handling to the next level. When we think about 9R going into our trail and crossover sleds, it went into the Indy XCR for 2025, and that was very purposeful. The engine response and how it wants to be ridden matches that XCR rider and the terrain they want to go dominate perfectly. The XCR is really hard charging, it's meant for aggressive riding, and this 9R just responds instantly to every little movement you make on an XCR, whether you got it on the trail, in the bumps, in the air, or all three in a very short amount of time. The Switchback Assault with a 9R in it might win the award for the most fun snowmobile we sell. If you've ridden a Switchback Assault or ever been on one, you know they're just a lot of fun to ride. Big wheelies, awesome on-trail handling, super light on the skis, no matter where you ride it on your crossover riding day. And the response of the 9R just makes all of that more fun. We talk about kind of that more XCR style riding that you might want to do with your Switchback on rougher trails, helps that handling and cornering. And then when you got it in some deeper snow, you got it off trail, it has a lot of RMK-like benefits where it gets the front end up, keeps it light, and helps the sled maneuver because it uses the engine to move the sled. When we put it in the mountains, this is one we've been talking about for a long time since the 9R came out, but there is no better technical weapon in the super tight trees than a 9R. A mountain sled, much more so than an Indy or a Switchback, when you're on your RMK, especially in that tight terrain, you're using the track moving to move the sled, right? You're not just steering where you want to go and sitting down on the seat. It's highly dynamic. There's a lot of things moving very quickly in a short amount of time. And the response of the 9R in that tight technical terrain just cannot be beat. Now when we come over here to Patriot Boost, when we talk about response, it's a turbocharged engine. So it's never going to respond nearly as quick as a naturally aspirated engine like a 9R. It's just not going to. What we did when we developed Patriot Boost is wanted to minimize that response trade-off as much as possible and then make sure it responds consistently every single time, no matter where you're riding. When we talk about response from a performance or a quick response standpoint, like I said, it was important to minimize that response trade-off for all the benefits that we talked about on 9R. So it's got a really short turbo, really direct airflow, and then a reed valve in the intake, all designed to make it respond really, really quickly. It spools up really quickly, and it delivers the power to the snowmobile very quickly. When you're in your VR1 Boost, That means you're able to ride really smooth and have a lot of fun on those tight trails still while having the big legs of the turbo. So on a tight trail where it's just been groomed, you're in and out of the throttle a lot, right? You're on the throttle and the brakes to turn, back on the throttle, out you go. That on and off sequence with the boost, the way the intake and the turbo system is designed, is really smooth, it's really quick, and it's really fun. It doesn't have that kind of hit the throttle, wait, oh, made a bunch of power, oh, now we're into the next corner already. It doesn't have that kind of old school turbo on-off switch phenomenon. It responds really quickly, and that makes it really, really smooth to ride. When you're riding a switchback assault with a Patriot Boost in it, it's a lot of those same response benefits when you're on the trail, but then if you get off the trail a little bit, you want to do some wheelies, you want to do some powder turns, it's really quick to get it on edge. Again, not quite as quick as a 9R, but once it builds a little bit of boost, even with that naturally aspirated kind of intake system that it has there, when you're doing big powder turns on your switchback assault, it's easy to get the sled on its side because it's responding quickly as a turbocharged engine. On the mountain side, same exact thing that we just talked about there with switchback, just taken to the extreme with mountain sleds, right? When you're riding a boosted mountain sled, you still want that quick response. You still want it to be able to handle well. If you want to dive into the tight technical trees with your buddy who's got a 9R, you still need it to handle well, and so that's exactly what it does. It responds quick, it responds smoothly, and that allows you to put a boosted sled in some pretty tight spots when you want to go ride technical terrain in the mountains. The other piece when we talk about response with Patriot Boost is consistency. It might seem kind of odd to talk about consistency with an engine. Should an engine just run the same all the time? And when you introduce boost into the situation, it can be a little bit more difficult to control all the different engine parameters given the wide range of variables that we've introduced in something like a turbocharged snowmobile. When we design Patriot Boost, the hallmark of it is smart boost. So that's the divorced wastegate, the control strategy, all this other stuff that goes into it. Basically building into the engine consistency. We wanted it to run absolutely perfectly all the time, no matter what the conditions are, the temperature, the terrain, etc. What that does is it responds predictably. So not only is it quick for a turbo, it's predictable as well, especially compared to a lot of the other solutions out there. When we talk about predictable response here with Boost, when you get onto your VR1, your switchback assault, or your big RMK, it enables you to build confidence, right? Riding a turbo engine is very powerful. They build a lot of boost. They make a lot of power no matter where you're at. So having it be as predictable as it is what builds the confidence for the rider to really go into the corner hard because you know exactly how the power is going to come on when you come off. Just like an RMK, you get in that spot in between the trees where you got an opening, you put your foot down, you turn it up the hill and hit the throttle. You know exactly how the power is going to respond and when, and it allows you to build confidence and be a better rider when you're out on the snow. Now, the second piece that we're going to talk about with Patriot Boost and Patriot 9R is power, and this is really where the boost starts to shine. They say there's no replacement for displacement. There is. It's called boost, and that's exactly what we've got going on here. So obviously, turbocharged engine, it forces air into the combustion chamber, right? More air than it otherwise would be able to take in, which builds more power. And that's really where the Patriot Boost shines. 10% more power at sea level than an 850, and then 50% more up at high elevation. Now, when you're out on the trail in your Indy VR1 with a Patriot Boost, the biggest difference that you're going to feel is really in the higher speed levels, right? The Boost has really long legs. It makes a ton of power throughout the power band, and because it's boosted, really enables the really high speed and really fast nature of an Indy VR1 with a Patriot Boost. The way that it builds boost allows it to kind of carry over this wall that we call it, where a naturally aspirated two-stroke struggles to keep building speed. Boost can just force more air right in there and push through to higher speed levels. A Patriot Boost is substantially faster on a trail in a VR1 than an XCR with a 9R when we talk about top speed fast. When we talk about the 9R power, though, it's a lot different than a Boost. It doesn't have those long legs. It doesn't have that incredible high top speed. At top speed wise, a 9R really isn't that much faster than an 850, maybe a couple mile an hour. Where 9R really shines in the power delivery, though, is that big bore raw displacement power. It puts the power down fast and hits really hard. An XCR 9R may not be that many top speed mile an hour faster than an 850 XCR, but it's going to get there a lot quicker. And that's really where that quick response of the 9R really shines, is it puts that power down really, really, really fast. When you go into the RMKs and the switchbacks as well, this quick hitting power that really delivers lower in the RPM range and really responds fast is for that tight technical riding or that more quick responding lightweight riding, right? It makes a ton of power in an RMK. It's quite a bit lighter than a boost as well, and it puts that power down really quickly. It hits really hard. Like we've been saying, it's really good for that tight technical terrain. When you really want to, you're going slow, you're on and off the throttle, kind of come stopped in the trees, hammer on the throttle, need to go up the hill. That's where you really want the quick hitting raw power of the 9R. But when you go up in elevation, you just can't beat forced induction. You just can't do it. 9R is naturally aspirated. Every foot higher in elevation that you take a 9R, it loses a little bit of power from where it is at sea level. The boost uses the turbocharger, the forced induction system, to keep building that same power level it makes at sea level all the way to 10,000 feet. So this engine makes the same amount of power at 10,000 feet of elevation as it does at sea level. It's just an incredible amount of power that it puts down in the mountains when you're looking to tackle big terrain, deep snow, and really that higher elevation. Again, it's not quite as quick to respond. There's a little bit of a weight trade-off. It's about 25 pounds heavier than a 9R in a mountain sled. But when you get up to 10, 12,000 feet and you want big time power, you just can't beat a boost. Not really a surprise, but you really can't go wrong. All about finding the one that fits your riding style. The 9R, lightweight, low inertia, really fast responding for that quick hitting power, super fun in rough and tumble XCRs, really tight Pro RMK tree lines, and then the boost. Big time power in VR1s and assaults, top speed, lake racer, hyper sled like power and speed levels. And then when you get up high in elevation, you carry all that power with you. You take it all the way up to the big deep snow and the big mountains up high. Indies, switchbacks, RMKs, no matter what kind of sled you're looking for, we got Patriot Boost or Patriot 9R to fit your riding style and make your next ride out on the snow even better than the one before. That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching this episode of Sled Tech, and we'll see you guys next time.